have. Should have good lungs.
I have got awful lungs.
I've got tinnitus too. I've had it. Well, I don't know how long I've had it, but I noticed it when I was 21, and it's getting worse. But
it's not bad. Like, it doesn't impact my life, but obviously, like, I don't want it to.
Yeah.
I noticed. Is it you that passed me on for that? Is it the Ethan Cooper gig that I did like a year ago? Is it you?
Is that the Phil Collins thing?
Yeah, it was like an 80s tribute thing, but I think you passed my details
Possibly,
on.
yeah.
And that was obviously like very, very loud in a working men's. I went out at like halfway through and I was like, oh my God, like my ears are ringing real bad.
That's not
And
good.
I was like, yeah. So I got proper moulded earplugs like last month.
Are they good?
Yeah, I can definitely tell. I tried some cheap ones. Couldn't tell. Yeah, I can tell the difference getting proper ones. But if you imagine even back when I grew up, no one ever told me to do that. And if you did, you'd probably get ribbed for it, or you'd be like, "Oh, you don't need that." Yeah. But it's even 15 years.
Think about it. You're sat there in rehearsal. You've got 5 trumpets blowing down your ears, right?
Yeah.
I'm sat in front of you. I've got the trumpets plus you and 4 mates blowing trombone as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing with the sax is you sat in block formation.
You're just taking the brunt of it all.
You've got 10 brass players just. So even though I think I was 26, 25 when I noticed I had it.
Yeah.
I was in a practice room at college and they had these really small booths and they were literally carpeted like top to toe. So it was super dead sound. And I'm in there practicing and then it was quiet and I could hear this psh, like a hiss. I was like, what's that? And then I realised it was tinnitus. And when I first realised it, I proper had a bit of a mental like downer on it because it was like, oh my God.
Scary, isn't it?
It is very scary, yeah. But to be honest, I probably had it way before then, but I'd never been in such a situation that was so quiet and dead sounding for me to hear it.
Yeah.
But I've noticed in recent weeks it's getting louder, and I don't know if it's because I'm doing more of these like Ibiza DJ gigs where it's just like pumping out really loud and I'm stood in front of the speakers, or if it's linked to this back and neck thing I've got going on, because if you've got compression on nerves in your neck, it can cause tinnitus, or it can cause tinnitus to get worse. So it might be that. But yeah, back then
probably not the best thing. The benefits of music.
Don't do music, kids. Don't do music. Don't try this at home. You'll end up deaf. Yeah. And don't play an instrument in a big band. Or if you are, be a trumpet player because there's no one behind you. The irony that they're loud buggers as well, and they're at the back.
Yeah.
You know, ruining our ears.
The Bel Air trumpet's like a yard from my ears.
Yeah.
Like.
Have you ever done this where you've played and you've smacked a sax player in the back of the head with your things?
I don't think so.
Or arm. I've been hit by her. I think
you?
it was Ellie.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't hurt.
Do you think it was on
probably
purpose?
Probably. Shut up. But I imagine it would hurt because you got your mouth on the thing. If it jars.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've had it with like backchat gigs where, because obviously like you're very like in everyone's face, in amongst it, and like I've had it multiple times. Just people have like whacked the end of your slide, and like obviously like if it did it hard enough, it'd probably knock your teeth out. But
I play with retainers in now.
Yeah,
when I do gigs, right, just on the top because you do get whacked if you know from a dance floor,
clubs and bars and stuff. Like that, yeah.
So we were talking off camera earlier about playing in bands as kids and stuff like that. So you're like the generation like when I think of DYJA, there's like certain generations because obviously I've grown up with it since I can remember. Yeah. And there's like certain generations. So in my own head anyway, and I kind of like put you in. You're the generation below us. Yeah. So you went to the Jazz Centre. You probably started when the Jazz Centre was like at maximum capacity in terms of its usage and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably.
Do you remember how you started and how all that began?
So I picked trombone up at that sort of generic age, like 8 or 9, when they come into schools as Perry teachers.
Did you get free lessons?
I did. Yeah, which was important. Yeah. And, my mum and dad obviously wanted me to like learn an instrument, which I owe a lot to them really. But I picked up the trombone first of all. Do you remember Adam Titus?
Yeah.
He was at my primary school. Right. He's about 3 years older than me. Okay. And he played the Snowman theme in like one of those end of year concerts. Yeah, yeah. And because I was like, walking in the air. That's the one, yeah. Didn't sound as good as that. No, it did sound good, obviously, because I was an idiot. Because I was like, 8 or
You
something.
are an idiot.
I'm still an idiot, but
I can attest to
then
that.
I was 8, so I had an excuse. Right. But I was like, I want to play that instrument because then I can play that song, which obviously is not how it works.
So it was the song that brought you in.
Yeah, I was like, I like that song, and he's playing it, so obviously I need to play that instrument if I want to play that song.
It's interesting because, without a doubt, the trombone is not the coolest of instruments for kids. I mean, I think it is now. Obviously, it's a great instrument, but kids don't always naturally gravitate towards that instrument, do they?
It's a poor man's trumpet, isn't it? For like
is it?
10-year-olds. Everyone's like, no trumpets left. That's
you get a trombone.
Yeah, but I actually wanted to for some reason. But
because of the song, though.
Because of the song and Adam playing it or whatever. So he knew. Obviously, like as we got older, Adam played in the bands with us and everything, so I knew him pretty well.
Yeah.
And he used to, well, he used to rip me for it because he was like, "Oh, I'm your idol," because I picked the trombone because of him.
Yeah. But it was funny, Adam.
It was good, and he lived like in the same village, so he used to give me a lift in and stuff. But anyway, I just sort of played the trombone up until about 13 or 14. I went to my lessons, did the school bands and the Perry stuff.
Did you do the music service stuff then?
Yeah,
I did that.
I wasn't really into it. Probably there was points when you're like 12 or 13, there's a lot more different stuff that you think's cooler or you wanted to be doing. And my mum just like made me carry on.
Plus also with that style of music, there's probably a lot of bar counting and lots of long notes for a trombone player. Yeah. I loved going to music service bands purely because it was completely different from jazz, DYJA stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a different challenge. I loved it.
Different challenge. The challenge was counting bars and not getting lost because as a sax player, there's not a lot. Sometimes you weren't, there's not a lot of repertoire for saxophonists in that.
Especially in the like, I can't remember what it was called. What was like the actual string orchestra called?
Boyce Orchestra, was it? Was it Boyce?
I can't remember. But I did that one once and I was just like, this isn't for me because I literally was just counting bars for an hour and a half.
And that's it for 20 minutes.
And if you come in with that at the wrong time, it's pretty bad.
But I liked that because it was a challenge, like you say. But I know what you mean. It was a different style of music. So, and at 13, 14, you want to be getting your teeth into something, don't you?
Yeah. Right? Honestly, I just wasn't really that into, that wasn't like what I was really interested in. But I kept on going to my lessons. And I'm glad because my mum kept forcing me to do it. Yeah. And then I can't remember. It was either my school teacher or it was Andy Gurnell, who was my Perry teacher, who suggested I went to Jazz Centre. Yeah. And I was probably like 13 or 14. And that is when I turned up to Jazz Centre, that is when I got like actually seriously into playing the trombone. I was really glad that I stuck at it. Yeah. And I was really lucky, to be fair, to be a trombone player because there's not that many of us. Yeah. Whereas like there's looking stage band at that time, like you said,
saxophones.
There's a line as long as you can see of sax players. Yeah. And then someone comes along and it's like, plays trombone. Yeah. And I was decent player. I think I might have been grade 6 or grade 7 or something. And they were like, well, I've got a trombone player. And I think at the time...
So next thing you know, you're in all 3 bands.
Straight away. Whereas if I was a sax player, I would have had to have been really good. Even then, there would probably been a pecking order. And so I was really lucky. And the first sort of year I was there, it was when we did that Music for Youth run. It was when... And we had a really good band. It was like when Ruben and Ben Malander and
that's the generation I was thinking of. Is your Rubens, your Ben Malanders,
Gaz and James and all those people. And because I needed a third trombone player in DYJA, and because I could roughly get around the trombone, they were like, "Oh, Dan can do that." So I got like really good opportunities really quick, and that really got me like properly interested. And that's when I got lessons with you. Started actually like shedding and practicing a lot. And then trombone sort of became my life for a couple of years from nowhere, I would say. One.
Did you go to music college?
No.
But you went on the ships, didn't you?
Yeah, so I was sort of like, when we were having lessons, I was kind of like 50-50 between do I want to do music or do I want to do something else?
Yeah, proper job.
Yeah, I guess. And that was, I guess, like my mum and dad's, they wanted like, I guess, the best for me. And they were like, because they came and asked you, didn't they, about it? Like, just, I
think I remember a chat with your mum and she said, is it a good idea? Is he good enough? And I was like, it's a good idea if you want to do it. He's definitely good enough to do it. But I think I've said to all my students, if you've got the chance of getting what I call a proper job, tongue in cheek, because that's what other people refer to it, and you can still play for fun, then you got the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And I think I say that to everyone, to be honest, regardless of their ability or level, because it's true.
It's
for me,
nice
it's
to have
true.
a bit of stability and a bit of
Exactly.
what you like to do.
Like for you can say no to a gig because you've got a day job and you can pick and choose to a certain degree what you want to do.
Yeah.
I can't really do that because I've put all my eggs in that basket. But so then you went, obviously you did all that national festival stuff, and you're right, the band then was
It was
amazing.
incredible, really. We did the Music for Youth in Birmingham. We like won that.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know if I was in DYJO permanently, because it was like, we just need someone for this.
Right.
So as a like
So you were in
15-year-old with all
limbo.
these insecurities,
You were in DYJA-LIMBO.
basically. And when you'll probably know, like when you're really into it and you're that age, it's like all that matters to you. So you were like, I remember we did the Music for Youth festival, and I was just like, I really enjoyed it, but I was really sad because I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to get to play with that band again. Then I got quite seriously into it, and my grandparents bought me a proper like Rath trombone, whereas I just had my Yamaha Perry instrument. They were just like, if you play with DYJO again, we'll get you a new trombone.
Wow.
So
That's ace.
yeah. And then we did the Royal Albert Hall. So I'd kind of gone from like 2 years ago where I was just like, I just do my Perry lessons, turn up. I'm okay at the trombone, but I'm kind of like into, not really. I think I was like into like playing golf or something like at the time. And then for like 2 years later, I was like playing at the Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah.
Like music was
What was
really
that like?
important to me. It was unbelievable. Yeah.
8,000 people that place holds.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably like, I don't know, one of the first like massive gigs I've done where you can't see anything beyond the lights. So
The thing is, the problem with that is it don't really get any better than that.
No,
like,
I peaked at 15.
Yeah, you peaked at 15.
Basically.
I think when our band, which is the generation above, I was a bit older, probably like 19, 20, or maybe a bit, even early 20s maybe. But yeah, it was like, well, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Where can you play that's more
Completed it now.
iconic than that?
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. But yeah, DYJA, or the bands of DYJA, I've got a massive history of going to the National Festival, absolutely rinsing it, winning it, and then being invited to the Royal Albert Hall. Did you know, I don't know if this is still the case, but we did have the record for being the youth band that's played there more than any other youth band.
I think I knew something like that. Or it felt like at times like, oh, they're not letting us win it again because we've done it too many times, that sort of thing, didn't it?
I think at one point, before mine and yours time, because I remember going as a kid to watch the bands in like the 80s, and they would win. And after a while, I think they asked Dad if he wanted to be a judge, and Dad thought that they only did that so that he couldn't enter the Doncaster band because they were just winning everything. And they
sort
were
of disincentivized.
maybe, so there was like a quite a long period where Doncaster didn't enter any bands.
Yeah.
And then they did, but Ron would direct sort of thing, and maybe Dad wouldn't have a vote on that panel or on that day or whatever. I don't know how it worked, but it almost got embarrassing after a while. It was like, oh, he's Doncaster again, But we were so much better than all the other bands.
It's one of those things, isn't it, where people say it's the best kept secret of the like. It's not the kind of place where you would expect this ridiculous youth association of music.
I know.
And I've gone to I remember when I went to uni and like, I won't name any other organisations, but went to uni and I went to another, and they just had like one band and they'd rent out a room in some like school or something like that. And it was okay, but I kind of was like, oh my God, like we're really lucky that we had all these graded bands. And
again, I don't think you realise that till you leave and you maybe play. I played in my uni band as well, and I was like, it was good, but it wasn't as good as DYJO. And yet everyone was like 5 years older, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
like,
you don't realise it's not normal.
Yeah, you don't realise that. We just took it for granted, didn't we? There's this amazing association where there's loads of competition for places. You go to France, you go to Germany, I've been to Russia and America.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done countless tours in France and stuff like that. I mean, who gets to do that when they're a teenager usually? Like,
yeah, definitely. I definitely look back at that as one of the best time of my lives, like going to these exchanges and you just get on a coach with all your mates or whatever for 20 hours and you go and play music and like go to like house parties or something when you're probably too young to have done it. But it's one of those things like it probably wouldn't happen now, would it really, for like
too difficult
safeguarding and it's kind of sad.
Sad because I had this conversation with, was it Sarah we were talking about this with, and I talked about it with Dad as well on his episode. And like, you know, back in the first time he went, I think he took a band to Nice Jazz Festival in like 1978 or something.
Yeah.
And it's literally like, have you got a bus? Yeah. Took loads of kids on a bus, drive to the south of France.
Yeah.
Do a jazz festival tour.
Yeah.
Everyone's probably smoking and drinking that shouldn't be, you know.
Yeah.
No, everyone came back in one piece, no problems. But now, that is just, you cannot do that now. And there's good reasons why, but at the same time, I feel that the kids today are just missing out on the stuff.
Yeah, there should be some way around it. Because I get that, like, obviously, if something goes wrong, it's pretty bad, but that's like one in thousands and thousands of people. But for everyone else, it's like an amazing experience, really.
Oh, God, you've probably got friends for life from France and Germany, haven't you?
I mean, yeah, definitely got people that I still like speak to. Yeah. And I've got family in France as well that we used to go and see. Yeah,
because your auntie came to see us, didn't she, when we went there? Yeah. So those kind of connections that we've all made. I mean, I went to live in Limine for a year.
Yeah.
Based on going there, you know, on exchanges and then tours with one of the bands.
Yeah.
And I think Sarah's got the same thing. Most of the people in our two generations, if you like, of DYJA, we've all got strong links to France and Germany.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff we've done, like, you know, playing at the Albert Hall. How old were you when you did that?
Probably 15 or something.
15 you've played the Albert Hall.
Yeah.
And you
some people don't ever do that now.
Some people haven't even been there.
No.
You've played on it.
Musicians as well.
You've played on that stage.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes I forget what a big deal that is to other people, at least. We're probably like, whatever. Because you've done loads of stuff like that.
I'm very aware of that I've had a lot of privileged opportunities, mainly because of the Jazz Association.
And music,
Because if I'd just been from a different random northern town, you know, if I hadn't have got into that association, then I probably would have kept my music lessons going up until 16, got my grade 8, and then my trombone would have stayed in cupboard for the rest of my life, probably.
Well, I think that's probably true of a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people, that's their path. They take an instrument up, they get really good, you do your grade 8, and then you go off to uni or whatever, you get a job, you settle down. You don't
have
play.
time, or you don't have, but the opportunities that we got meant that we kept going, or that meant that we got other opportunities and we sort of made it into a career of some sort.
I think for me, and probably same for you to a certain degree, the only reason I wanted to be a pro player because I had so much fun as a kid and thought, I could get paid for this. I didn't think it through as in, well, actually, it might be quite difficult financially. You know, it's not a normal path to take. I didn't think any of that. All I thought was, this is ace. I'm having so much fun. I'm going around the world. I'm playing music with my mates. I'm having a laugh, meeting people. Why not do it as a job? That's literally as far as it went. And I think that's probably why most musicians, certainly instrumentalists, get into it.
Definitely.
And had we not had that exposure, we'd both be doing completely different stuff now.
Definitely. I mean, even if neither of us did take up like careers in music, you still had some great experiences that have like broadened your mind, made some great friends.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people in the DYJA at the moment that aren't like full-time professional musicians, but if they hadn't been part of the Jazz Association, they probably wouldn't play at all. Whereas now they're playing a pretty good big band.
Dad said the same thing. Is like, because obviously the current band of DYJA and the people that run the album, it is a mixture of pros, semi-pros, and then I think amateur's not the right term because it sounds a bit like they don't know what they're doing. We've got people, let's just say people that play to a very high level, but they've got careers in other industries. They don't play for money. And what I love about the band is that it's a mix of all those three different levels, definitely. If you like.
And no one even really pays any attention to if someone's any of one of those three things. Really, we just
it's part of it. It's what we've all. It's basically that it's people and music is what's important, not the level or and all those great accolades that that DYJA's won and we've been part of. Yeah, that's okay, but it was the experience of doing it and working hard. working really hard on a piece for 2 hours and getting the dynamics right and then, and then nailing it on a gig.
You're in like a
you're
flow state, aren't you, when you're doing it?
Yeah.
That's what's...
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. And it is sad that a lot of kids won't get to do that now, but luckily some are. DYJA's thriving in its new environment and, long may it continue, I think. So just quickly on the album then, how was that whole thing for you? Like, did you... Obviously, you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I found it quite stressful on the weekend.
I guess I only did the second day
Right.
of recording. I was at a wedding on day one. So I came in on the Sunday. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of like a little bit nostalgic. Because I did the album in Abbey Road in
that was good,
2006
wasn't it?
or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess I think we spoke about this, that at the time, I think we'd been like a band for a lot longer back then. Like
we were playing regularly.
We were gigging a lot more.
Yeah.
So I felt like this was a bit more of a challenge in a way, because like we were kind of learning pieces from scratch. We weren't recording pieces that we'd already gigged back then.
It's a very different procedure, wasn't it, to the Abbey Road one? Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I did. It was like nostalgic of that and like getting into the pieces in more detail than you normally would for a gig.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like, I guess there were long days of recording, but again, it kind of felt that flow state of like getting in there and, redoing stuff until it was right.
Yeah.
And I was really proud to have been part of it, because I wasn't supposed to be at first. I don't think it was, because I hadn't really, because obviously I went away when I was younger and after uni and stuff, and probably didn't really do a lot with the band for 5 or 6 years at least. Right. And then the project came up, and it was one of those where I don't really know who was supposed to be involved. It might have been like Lee, Ellie, Chris.
Yeah, Potsy maybe.
Potsy maybe.
Because he had his injury thing. He couldn't do as much as he wanted to.
So Potsy had, he had like his like teeth thing with his teeth in his eye, didn't he? And then Ellie, obviously in Manchester, so she couldn't get across for bits.
Still couldn't do it.
Still couldn't do it. So I ended up being involved in like a lot of the rehearsals, and I was just a dep for a while, and Gaz was kind of like, he should probably.
So a bit like when you were a kid and you were like, oh, I don't know if I'm in DYJA or not. You were still in DYJA-LIMBO.
Yeah, basically. I've just been...
You're like super sub, aren't you, basically?
Pretty much, yeah. There, because there's no one else better, basically. So...
Don't say it like that, mate.
But no, I was just glad to have been part of the team, really, on it. And I had done a lot of the rehearsals, but I was just, happy to be on the recording and involved. So...
You're on quite a bit of it, aren't you?
I think I ended up being on more than I should have been, because again, someone had to leave. So I think Potsy on the day had to, because he's got like, he's a proper adult, isn't he, with a family, adult. So he had to go home.
He had to get back.
And then I had to record your feature.
Naima, yeah. Nice one.
So yeah,
cool, man.
It was fun.
And you happy with the results of it? I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, really happy, cool. Have it,
Well, just to wrap up, because Dan does our website, so thanks for that.
No, it's not
everyone, for people that don't know, everyone in DJA basically has a different role or task. None of us get paid, and we just do it for the love of it, but also to give back, to say thanks for all those experiences we've just been talking about, and to help the future generations of DYJA and stuff like that. So thanks for your work on the website. No, it's no problem. Videos, I'll send you the video next week. That's coming out. Yeah. And then are you on this gig tonight?
I am.
Right. Well, you better get off then.
I do.
All right. So thanks for doing this, and have a good one tonight.
Well, thanks, Mark.
See ya.